Today I want to talk to you about quite openly sharing my feedback about our move to Dubai. Now exactly a week ago with my wife we moved to Dubai and wanted to give my first impressions on the city, the things I love, the things that could be improved, because Dubai is one of the cities people either love it or they really have their own opinions of why it's not a good place, and they're usually the ones who are the loudest in the comment section, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those in here. But be it as it may, I want to share with you my unfiltered opinion. I'm not from the government to sell you any dream, but just share with you obviously and some of the reasons why we came here in the first place. Now full caveat as a backstory for some of you who don't know, I actually used to live in total 7 years in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, back in Ajman as another emirate, 3.5 years, where I worked in a luxury hotel I was managing at the time. And actually, even before that, I came back in 2005 studying here hospitality management to obviously later on start my hospitality career. But I came here quite early on, and in 2005 I can tell you the city was completely different to what it is today. So it's amazing to see the development, almost now 20 years later. It's just incredible, mind-boggling where I'm sitting today. All this area where we're actually living didn't exist nowhere close to it, right? So it's really incredible of the vision and development and things happening in the city. And for me, that's really inspiring to see. And at the beginning of the year, we also came a few times to Dubai to obviously come and set up everything, find our apartment, as well as set up our company. That's very important. You want to do that. Obviously, if you're employed, then that's taken care of by your employer. But in our case, I set up my company in Dubai. Very easy to do. So honestly, I was very happy with the process. And the fact that I also have real estate in Dubai allowed me to have a golden visa. That means for 10 years, my visa is going to be valid, which is really, really nice, because it can be a little bit annoying every year or every 2 years to renew, go to the authorities to do the health check and what have you. So now I have a 10-year investor visa, golden visa for my wife as well, for the kids in the future as well, even the nanny I can sponsor. They call it sponsor, so some terms you get to used to once you're living here, but that was really helpful, definitely. But if you don't have apartments, that's also fine. You just apply for a normal visa, either through your employer, or obviously if you're self-employed, that will come as part of your company registration. Right, so some of the things I jotted down over here. The first one definitely being the convenience. I mean, it's unbelievable how convenient it is. Actually, it can really spoil you. I think after living here for a while, going back to Europe or any other place, you really gotta get spoiled, because you can literally order anything and everything any time of the day. It never closes. You can at 2 a.m. in the morning order watermelon, which I did the other day. Okay, it was like midnight, but felt like watermelon, so I ordered sliced watermelon, which that was actually really cheap. I was surprised how cheap watermelon was. I think it was like 6 dirham, €1.50 or something. And I have like this free delivery basically, so I don't pay delivery. So I got it within 15 minutes. The app is even called 15 minutes, and it's just unbelievable. Delivered to my doorstep with a friendly smile. The same with the apartment. I'll speak about this in a second. But obviously we had to buy a lot of furniture and a lot of things, right? And wherever you go, any furniture store, whatever we liked and we chose, basically they said, yep, we'll have it delivered to you tomorrow. Worst case, in 2 days. And of course, we set it up for you and install everything. I was like, oh my God, even IKEA, they come and install it, which is absolutely incredible. So that's really, really convenient. I mean, honestly, I just love it, because frankly, I really love saving time through these things, right? I mean, even going to the grocery store in Dubai, they're massive, and sometimes it can take you really a long time until you find the parking. You go to the mall, you go there, get the stuff. Honestly, it's so much easier to just have it delivered to your home. And with my wife, really love it. Another cool thing is, or interesting thing is, that literally the whole city runs on WhatsApp. I mean, literally everything goes on WhatsApp, which is unbelievable. I mean, even I spoke to my bank on WhatsApp. They said, just send it over WhatsApp. I said, well, you're a bank, but the official communication with their clients, customer support and so on is through WhatsApp. So it's really nothing unusual. And honestly, it works surprisingly well. They even have like pre-made menus that you just click instead of waiting on the phone forever, like we do elsewhere. So honestly, it's really cool. And even when you go to the shop, as I said, you go to an electronics store, they said, yes, sir, take my WhatsApp, I'll let you know when the item is back in store. And it's just really interesting at first, unusual, but once you get a hang of it, honestly, it's just amazing and really, really nice. And of course, that's tied to your phone number. So everywhere you go, you buy something. Of course, everyone has their own loyalty programs and what have you, but everything goes back to your phone number. and that's really important. So wherever you go, you just say a phone number, they know your name, they give you the discounts, the points, what have you. And that's something really we're not so familiar with in Europe, I would say. And of course, that convenience also goes to your place of living. Now, obviously, it depends where you live. We chose to live in a new area in Dubai. It's called Creek Harbor, which we really enjoy. Honestly, still very calm, very peaceful. They're dog friendly, which is amazing because we brought our little doggy Nutella with us this time. And yeah, it's really nice. We can just walk outside. And yeah, it's lovely because overall, Dubai is still not the most dog friendly place, I would say. But they're getting better because a lot of people moving here, they're bringing their pets. So it's getting better and better. And yeah, really enjoying this area. And we're living in arguably one of the nicest towers here. It's not cheap, but we think it's worth it. And with this, of course, come a lot of amenities. You know, you have your concierge, you have your swimming pool. I have a tennis court here, badminton court, amazing gym. So literally, I just go down with the elevator and I have all of those available, right? Which is amazing. As I said, it comes at a price, but ultimately, I think it's living quality. Both of us work mostly from home. Even right now, the place I'm sitting in, by the way, I forgot to mention, it's an amazing boardroom, which you can use free of charge, right? You just book it in an app. Once again, in an app, you write to the security guys that you're coming, they unlock the door remotely, and boom, you're inside. I can have this now free of charge for 3 hours. I can host people here. So it's really, really convenient, I would say. So in that way, yes, what you pay obviously is what you get, right? Also, the people living here, of course, well, I would say they're doing well in life overall. Otherwise, usually they wouldn't be able to live here. And that's a great way to network and connect. Now, having said that, you know, it's still our first week. We're settling in. We got a few invitations to meet and so forth. But really, we want to focus on setting up the place. As I said, I'll do an apartment tour in the future. But right now, it's still a bit of a mess. It's also partially our fault because we're really quite picky with our furniture. So hopefully, we have all of that sorted out very soon. And I'll give you the tour. But yeah, as I said, it's super convenient. Anything you need, you just order it, they bring it to your doorstep. And another cool thing is, of course, the security aspect of it, right? Because here, literally the first time I came, we were wondering why there's so many Amazon packages and other packages in front of doorsteps in the apartments, right? You walk through the corridor, there's obviously a number of apartments there. You see everywhere these parcels in front of them and you wonder like, what the heck is this, you know? I mean, in Europe, you'd be really mindful of that because, oh, let's be honest, people steal packages, right? In the US, it's a big thing where people steal Amazon packages. They're even following the Amazon car, see the drop-off, and then take the package immediately. And here, that's the amazing thing of Dubai and UAE in general. It's so safe. It's incredible. Nobody would ever dare to take something like that away. So you can really rest assured, like we just order things. Even when we're not home, we know they put the thing outside and we'll take it when we're there. So it's really amazing. And these are the small things for me that really elevate the living quality. And security is such a big thing for us. I mean, again, I'm not the one running around with a big watch that, you know, has to watch out to be mugged and so forth. But just knowing that I can walk outside safely, not having to look out for dodgy people, right? I mean, in Barcelona, we even heard stories where they now is a new trend. They're cutting the ropes of dog owners when they go for a walk, and the other guy takes the dog and runs away, and they sell them on the black market. I mean, it's just crazy. If I had to think about this when I walk my dog, I want to enjoy, right? Take in the views. So here, you really don't have to think about any of that. And for me, that's really, you know, a big part of life quality. Some people say you only come here for the tax savings. Well, yeah, of course, you know, that's attractive. But honestly, it wouldn't only be that. Honestly, a lot of these things I mentioned today, these are reasons alone for me to be here and with my wife, obviously, is not just purely tax savings. If it's just for tax savings, you can move to many other places that are also very tax attractive, but the overall living style and living quality, I would say, is that high. We're also very excited to finally have bought our car over here, which was quite a mission because you hear a lot of stories where people really got scammed. So you have to be mindful of, you know, where you buy it, what you buy it, because yeah, sometimes what you see online is not really what you get in reality. And it's really easy to fall for some fake, you know, ads, what have you, where people promise you extremely low price. You see nice pictures, and often it looks like that also. But then you buy it only to find out that, you know, the car has been, you know, crashed multiple times. It's really bad. So you have to be very mindful and find a good person to buy from. Now you can of course buy a new car, and if you've been watching my channel, you know that I'm not a big fan of buying new cars unless you really have too much money flying around. But overall, it's really not a good investment, right? Because it just depreciates in value as soon as you leave the showroom, right? The car starts losing value. So it's not really an asset, but actually more a liability because it costs you more in maintenance, what have you, and yeah, loses value over time rather than gaining value over time, which I'm all about, investing in things that gain more value with time, which a car is not. But luckily, we found a really good deal in the end. Went for BMW, a nice Beamer. Being a German, you know, for me, I'm really happy with this. I've been driving BMW for, you know, a number of years now. I know they're reliable. You want to make sure that you buy a GCC version. So that's like, you know, specifically for this region, because let's say European cars, American cars, they're not built for this heat, because the heat here just hits different. I'll come to this in a second when I speak about the not so pleasant things, but it can get really toasty over here. So you want to have a car that's specifically built for that. They have stronger ACs and yeah, just kind of different specifications. And yeah, obviously the different price spectrums, right? You can really buy some cheap ones, or on the higher end, we bought a used car, a couple of years old, but really well maintained. It's still under agency service, so I can go to BMW dealership, they will fix it. It's still in the contract, so really well maintained, no accidents. Always make sure you also go for an independent audit. So we send it to an independent vehicle checker, actually from the government. They inspected it and gave us the green light on it, so we really feel comfortable. We had a great car dealership that really helped us all the way. They gave us all the contacts, they registered the number plate. So the process, once again, was super smooth. All we had to do was give my Emirates ID, so that's basically your ID card. That's very important to have here. And yeah, they did all the rest. It was super smooth and super easy. And yeah, the car, really nice so far. Touch wood, hopefully it drives for a couple of years, and then eventually, of course, we might sell this one and trade up to a higher, nicer, better car. But for now, really happy with that. Another thing, of course, I really love here is the friendly people. I mean, you have people from all over the world, basically. A majority of them are really sweet, very nice. But sometimes the sweetest guys are the toilet cleaners in the mall. They greet you with a big smile. They're always happy, and you look at them like, wow, like literally, obviously, in that way, in the hierarchy, in the lowest part, the salary will be tiny, but they're generally appreciating the opportunity they have to be here, living here in such an environment, rather than maybe back home, right? And that's what people fail to see, that yes, compared to everybody else, they might be at the lower end of the food chain, but compared to where they are at home, they're definitely on the higher end, right? So that's sometimes, interesting to keep in mind. But yeah, generally people are super nice, very friendly, maybe not always super capable, but quite frankly, I prefer someone being nice and sweet and maybe, don't have all the answer or make a little mistake, than someone who gets it all right, and knows everything, but is super rude and super, not smiley, not pleasant. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I prefer that, right? Because, I'll just ask somebody else or ask ChatGPT, but I want to have a nice interaction when I'm greeted with a big smile. And yeah, for me, that's really pleasant and really enjoy that. Of course, another big plus of the city is that it's so clean. It's unbelievable. Once again, in Europe, we're not exactly spoiled for cleanliness. Now, Vilnius is an exception. Lithuania, where we've been living, which is also very clean, but you go to Paris, London, Berlin, a lot of places are really not that clean, and here it's meticulous, which, yeah, once again, is just incredible. Anywhere you walk, it's clean. There's no garbage lying around. They really look after this. I believe they even punish if you litter and so forth, or put the gum on the floor. So yeah, I really enjoy that. And it's just, makes a different experience when you walk anywhere. It's just lovely to go around and yeah, enjoy and marvel. It's incredible infrastructure. Anywhere you go, all the new projects look absolutely stunning. So we really like little kids in the candy store, taking pictures everywhere because it's just overwhelming. Now I get it, right? Some people say, well, there is no history. Well, first of all, there is a history, right? It didn't start yesterday. And the second point, people say, well, it's man-made. Well, let me ask you, was Rome naturally built, or was it built by humans? Well, you can answer it for yourself. It's just older. It has been built many more years ago, but that just doesn't make it more valuable. It's just different, right? So I think that's also kind of a mind shift. Same way how don't expect when I go to Rome to see skyscrapers over there. It's just different, right? And there's no point to comparing one or the other. I think that's just the beauty of the world, that things are so different. We should just appreciate for what it is and what they're doing over here. And yeah, honestly, that's what I really admire about the city, the vision, and we're just getting started. When you hear about the vision of the ruler of Dubai and of course UAE, it's incredible. We're literally just at the beginning of it. Now, of course, there are so many other points I love about the city, but I don't want to sound like an ad for Dubai. I just want to share my positive thoughts, and these are some of the main things that come to mind right now. But yeah, as I said, if you want some more, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to interact and answer any questions. But a couple of cons to consider before moving to Dubai or coming here, obviously. And one, it goes without saying, which is nice in winter, the warm weather, but in summer it really gets, as I said, very steamy, very toasty. Even now we're in September, and we thought the main heat is over, and it is, right? The main heat, I would say, is June, July, August, which is really almost unbearable. I mean, well over 50 degrees at times. So now we're around 36, 37, some days 40 degrees. But then you still have the humidity, and it really hits you, right? So honestly, yeah, that's still something to keep in mind. So if you're really, struggling with the heat, then it may not be the best period to come now. Then definitely consider anywhere from October to November. It's absolutely lovely. And then all the way obviously to, March is still very nice. From April, it starts getting, again, very steamy. So yeah, that time of the year is definitely really, really pleasant. Right now, we're at the end of the heat season. And it's not only the heat, it's also the air quality, unfortunately. That's because of the sand, the traffic, and different things. It does get better in winter over here, definitely. And you start seeing more blue skies. These days has been very hazy. Even from our apartment, we luckily in an area where we have a big lake in front of us. So that's really nice, unobstructed views, and it brings a bit more fresh air. But if you're in city center, the air gets even worse over there. So yeah, some people might be a little bit struggling with that air. And even for myself, I love running. I'm preparing for a marathon right now. But I'm actually running inside more. It's not just because the heat. I could just get up early or run in the evening. I could handle the heat, but it's mostly the air quality, which is really quite bad. So I would have to run almost with a mask outside right now. So in this way, I prefer running on a treadmill. And then probably from October on, once the weather gets better, I will definitely be outside and soaking up the beautiful views and so forth. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. And there's of course the traffic issue, which honestly, it's bad and it's not, right? I don't know too many cities where you don't have a traffic problem, right? Most major cities have a traffic problem, and they're also getting way better. They're adding so many new streets all the time. They also have things like Salik, which is like a little toll, basically every time you pass the street. And now that they rolled it out to more streets, I think they also get less traffic because obviously then people use the streets without toll. So that kind of helps. So it's honestly getting better, but it's still, if you're going in the rush hours in the morning or after work in the evening, yes, you can spend quite a bit of time in traffic. So once again, it's important to have a nice car because you're going to be spending quite a bit of time in your car, definitely. So I think having a good car is very important here. But yeah, that's just something to consider. Luckily, again, with my wife who works from home. So for us, it's really up to us when we go, and we really make sure we go after the morning rush, before the evening rush. So in that sort of 10 to 4 p.m. time, we do all our errands, and then before and after we usually spend time at home, which just makes things so much easier, and we don't waste so much time in traffic. But for example, you could even take the metro, right? It's so interesting when they started building the metro when I was here back, I think it was 2005 or something, or maybe even before. People were laughing like, who's taking the metro in Dubai? But now from what I hear, it's crazy packed. People are rushing and flocking into the metro because it's a very convenient way. You avoid the traffic, it's cheaper, it's faster in many ways. The metro is very nice. Personally, I haven't been in the metro yet, but from what I hear, so it's really interesting to see how early on they started that vision, and not just now, but early on seeing that there will be a demand for it. And obviously the city is growing like crazy. I think we're now at 3.5 million people living here. And when we came the first time, I remember it was around 800,000. So it's crazy how fast the city has been growing. Right, and lastly, let's talk about the cost, because I think that could also be quite a con or turner for a lot of people who like the idea of coming to Dubai and living here. But I really want to honestly tell you, it's getting more and more expensive, right? Which is, well, it's just a reality, right? Which city is getting cheaper? Name me any big capital that's getting cheaper over time. It's just not a thing. Inflation is real. It's affecting everyone pretty much around the world. But of course, for all the things that I mentioned, especially for the pro parts, the convenience, the safety, the cleanliness, all these things, they do come at a price tag. And honestly, again, it is really relative, right? What is expensive? If you compare it to some other cities like Paris or London, in many ways, it is cheaper. But at the same time, having said that, it is also getting more expensive and catching up quite quickly, especially the rents, for example, right? I remember they used to be really, really low. And when I started investing here in my real estate, I was even a little bit worried, isn't that too cheap, the rents for what I'm paying? But now, obviously, since I paid what I paid, right? The purchasing price is the same, but the rents over time have been increasing quite drastically, I would say, which is nice as an investor. But as a tenant, someone who pays the rent, that can really take out quite a bit out of your monthly income. And again, depends, if you're employed with the company and at a higher managerial level, often the company will provide you housing, which is really nice. And yeah, in Dubai, it becomes really powerful because if you pay it out of your own pocket, you have a choice, right? Either you spend more of your money towards your rent to live nicely, which is fair enough, or you make sacrifices and cut down your living quality to save more money on other things. So it's your choice, but that's usually for the lower entry positions. As I said, at the managerial level, when I was employed here as a general manager, I was provided with my own housing, so you get a fixed amount, and with that amount, you can obviously choose what you want to spend it for. You can also top it up if you want to upgrade your housing, but usually they do provide you with that, which is quite powerful. If you're self-employed, of course, you have to find your own place. And yeah, I mean, it is definitely on the more expensive side, but ultimately, of course, you can find anything for any kind of price range. You can even move outside Dubai, which a lot of people do. Let's say they work in Dubai, but they live in Sharjah, even Ajman, even Ras Al Khaimah, which is another emirate. So obviously then you will be driving more, right? You might be stuck more in traffic, but at the same time you get more value for money in a way if you feel comfortable living there. We just love Dubai. We want to be where the action happens, and we love it here, and that's the price we pay for it. And if I compare that again to London or Paris, it's pretty fair. And I think you have to be very smart and mindful with what you spend money, because the first time you come here, wow, so tempted with all the luxury restaurants and nice places to go to. And we did that as well, right? The first few months, you go to these places, take your pictures and just live life. But now, after a while, obviously now we invest into a beautiful place and home where we're going to be spending so much time that obviously we're still going to go out and have some nicey fancy dinners once in a while. But in general, we love cooking. It's much more healthy and also, of course, way cheaper, right? So that way you get to live a nice life in a beautiful environment. You eat healthier, cleaner food at a much lower price than if you went out to eat every single day. I mean, just give you an example. This morning I grabbed a coffee from Starbucks. That was €8.50. Now, if I did that 3-4 times, which normally I drink 4 coffees, that's €32 in a day, right? So that's absolutely crazy. So obviously, I'm gonna buy a coffee machine myself. It just saves money, right? So you have to be mindful with these things. If you take taxis everywhere, honestly, while the taxi price itself is cheap, it does add up over time if you do it a few times a day. Same with beach clubs, right? They're very tempting and we're still gonna go to beach clubs. But usually I would say at minimum, it would cost you €100 per person, sometimes, €200 per person per day to go to a beach club with a nice lunch or dinner, what have you. And yeah, you do these things a few times. Brunches, big thing over here. People get absolutely hammered on the weekend, go for brunch. I mean, they're incredible, right? But again, you can spend 150, 200, 250 euros on a brunch. So yes, you really want to be mindful and understand what's important for you. Maybe you love these things and you're willing to invest and spend the money on that. That's totally fine, right? But I think if you want to save some money and still have a comfortable life, you can definitely do that. But you have to be smart about things, when you buy, where you buy. My wife found tickets to a show which normally costs €250 per person, and she found a sale that was around €30. So a major, major difference. So I think you have to be very smart and mindful with where you spend, when you spend, know your way around. Don't be just a tourist, buying the first thing you see, negotiate, and it goes with anything. With the car, even with the apartment here, we negotiate the price with the landlord. We paid 1 year in advance and therefore got a lower price, which we still negotiated. So yeah, you have to be really smart because it's very easy to overspend, try to impress other people. If you just want to live for the Instagram, then honestly, that's probably the worst way to go about it. So often people ask me, Kai, so how much should I be making in order to live comfortably in Dubai? And again, it's very difficult to answer because it depends on so many factors, how you live, which apartment. You can spend €5,000 on rent easily, right? At the same time, you could also spend €800 on rent, but then spend on other things. So it's really hard to say, but I would honestly say under €5,000 per month, it's going to be quite difficult to live. You can live less than that, right? Even when I studied here, I had significantly less than that. And that's totally fine. I also lived. I'm just saying a comfortable life where you don't mind, to go to a nice restaurant sometimes. You don't have to count every single thing. Can we afford to go there? Go to a water park, what have you. So yeah, I would say €5,000 would be sort of the minimum to live, a little bit nicer. It's still not really like wow, or you can do crazy things, but I think 5,000 would be sort of the entry where I'd say, okay, you could definitely consider coming here. And again, it's very different, right? If you earn €5,000 after all your expenses paid, because your company pays for your car, for your apartment, maybe even food allowance, which some company pays, which for example, I got as a general manager, my health insurance was paid. So then €5,000 is much more comfortable than, of course, if you pay everything by yourself, right? If you pay for your own insurance, health insurance, car insurance, all these things, and the rent as well, then honestly €5,000 will go like this, trust me. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Again, there's no right or wrong number. It depends on you, but I think you can make it work either way. But long story short, with all the pros and cons, we're really happy after the first week, really excited. Still a long way to go to finish our apartment. Once it is, I'll give you a tour. But overall, we feel really comfortable. Having said that, at the same time, we love having the ability to come back to Europe. It's very easy, right? The flight is 5.5 hours. We have an apartment in Vilnius, Lithuania, where we are full of nature. So in the summers, we're going to be spending time over there. My wife will go more regularly. She still has business over there. So it's really easy, very convenient. And we love having the best of both worlds. So yeah, we're really excited living here. And sorry for the little rant. It was a little bit longer than expected, but yeah, just so many thoughts came to mind. And if you still have any questions on any of it, let me know down in the comments below. I'll get back to every single one of you. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. It helps the video to be seen by more people. Next up, check out this video over here. As always, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.